So I was asked to talk about the National Lab Accelerator Study Group from Muon Collider. So let me start by telling you what that is first. So the way it came about was our current interim lab director visited all the DOE labs, and when she was at the laboratories that had accelerator facilities, she convinced, in only the way she can, each of the labs to commit to spending some LDRD money to help us get a head start on the Muon Collider. And she put together this committee on the left over here. We have Philippe Pio from Argonne, Jean-Luc Bay from Berkeley, Steve Peggs from Brookhaven, myself, Bob Rimmer from JLab, Steve Russell from Los Alamos, Fulvia Pilat from Oak Ridge, and Emilio Nani from Stanford. You can see we have too many Steves on it right away, but and then we also have Ditka Strakakis from Fermilab, who was I call him our scientific secretary, but he's also our liaison with the US Muon Collider collaboration. Okay, so let me start with the charge. The purpose of the group is to identify the key accelerator challenges that must be addressed to enable the realization of a 10 TeV Muon Collider. We're to evaluate the R&D steps, including demos, simulation and software tools, facility capabilities that are required to do this, and eventually provide a technically informed estimate of the time required to complete each major R&D category, recognizing, now this is important, that these estimates will inform but not constitute a full collider development plan. Okay, it's pretty early for all that, but we're just trying to lay the groundwork, making a plan to make a plan, so to speak. And then assess the capabilities and roles of US national laboratories in contributing to these critical areas. Oops. And of course, it should build on existing US and international Muon Collider collaboration R&D planning documents. The IMCC is quite a bit ahead of us in this respect. And we're starting with that. We're going to morph that into something that's more US appropriate. And we'll identify the areas of alignment, overlap, and gaps that require further attention. So they're not, we're complementary rather than competitive. This would include technical gaps, infrastructure needs, and coordination challenges. As I said before, the group is not tasked with developing a full collider concept or roadmap, but just to clarify and prioritize the foundational technical work that's needed over the next decade. And these estimates and findings should serve as input for a coordinated evolving timeline for Muon Collider R&D. And in particular, we want to emphasize coordination across the US national labs. That was the general intent of this whole enterprise, is to integrate the laboratories in the US and start to work together as one to address the issues important for developing a Muon Collider. And we're given a deadline of July 1st next year to deliver a written report. Okay, so I ambitiously put down a bunch of milestones to track our progress, or in this case, lack thereof in some cases. So where we are now is we're looking at all of the documents, and there are many, as input. And then we've established joint weekly informational meetings, which include US Muon Collider collaboration, relevant members of the IMCC, and other subject matter experts. And then as this evolves, we'll see a need, I'm sure, for additional meetings that we need to focus on particular technical issues. And then based on the document reviews and the information gathered at this point, we're just going to start to produce a preliminary list of key accelerator challenges and potential technical gaps for the Muon Collider. And then we'll look at the challenges and evaluate the R&D. So we need to evaluate all the R&D steps, including demos and other things I mentioned before. Then US lab capability assessment. What are the unique capabilities and roles of US national laboratories? And then we need to identify how they can best contribute to addressing the challenges. and then synthesize these findings to pinpoint specific technical infrastructure and coordination gaps that need to be addressed future R&D. And then we'll try to provide a technically informed bounded estimate of the time required to complete each major R&D category. And then we'll draft a report, which we will circulate amongst the key stakeholders to get some initial feedback. DOE, IMCC, USMCC, and others, laboratories as well, and go from there. Then finally, we'll submit the report, hopefully by the mandated deadline. I'm finding out we have an awful lot of work to do in a relatively short time on this. So in terms of the seminar series, we've had 7 seminars so far. We have another 7 at least to go, and there are probably half a dozen in the wings. So this will be an ongoing exercise. These are jointly organized with the U.S. Muon Collider Collaboration. We're going to record these talks. They'll be posted on Indico, and we also provide an AI summary. So if you can't make it, they'll be available at the Indigo sites. And this is how you find them. So each one has a seminar number, and you can find the Indigo site that way. Now, if you want to attend the talks, you can get on the USMCC mailing list right here, shown here, and get announcements and other news, or subscribe to the Slack channel. Now, if you wish to join the US Muon Collider Collaboration, then you need to contact Sergo directly, and he'll hook you up. Now, one thing, topics for discussion, but not right now, but something for people to think about that we're kind of running into, is we realize that the Muon Collider is unique both technologically and sociologically. And for that, to move forward on this, we need to create a new paradigm, something we haven't done much in the past with, and that is to integrate the laboratories nationally, internationally, to do the work that needs to be done. And so we need an R&D plan that's stable and long-term. So this is a real big challenge, in my opinion. And we also need to maintain the community interest at an appropriate level, given the priorities that we have now. You know, according to P5, they say, finish what you started. That's what we're going to do. At the same time, we need to have a foot in the future, and we need to maintain the interest of the early career people that are really wanting to do this. And some news from the USMCC. They've had a couple of new appointments in the organization. They're trying to engage a broader community involvement. And they're working on a 2026 Summer Student Accelerator R&D program that DOE is helping to support. And they're planning our annual USMCC meeting at Stanford in December of 2026. And that's all I have. Here are some background material for people that want to dive into this.
Thanks very much. I am not seeing any questions. Here comes a question from Sarah Eno. What is the extent of the LDRD money? Is it enough to have an impact?
Well, any amount of money will have an impact. How much impact is a good question. So at Fermilab, we have, it's $1 million to look at a more site-specific evaluation of the demonstrator. And as far as the other labs go, that's a good question. We'll see. Right now, the study group has met several times, and one of the homework problems is to think about the challenges that come to their mind and what their laboratory might be able to contribute, and get something into the queue for the next LDRD call. So we'll see how that evolves.
We also have a question coming in from Vaya. What is the European funding on this?
Oh, was it 25 million over 5 years, I think, for the IMCC. I think, and they've done a lot of work, but that's not enough money, even in CERN accounting, to do a lot of hardware. But they are leveraging off a lot of other activities. So INFN has a substantial amount of money to do work in superconductivity, and they're looking at RF and magnetic fields and building solenoids. The CERN magnet program is, while it's focused somewhat on the 14 Tesla dipoles for the FCC-HH, they do have a component that's trying to build high field solenoids that can be used for the final cooling channel. There are a lot of bits and pieces that we can leverage to support this. Our own GUARD program, for example, SLAC is using the GUARD program to do generic work on RF and magnetic fields. The magnet program in the U.S., of course, is very much aligned with the needs of the muon collider. Just everywhere you look, everything that U.S. MDP is doing is appropriate or relevant to a muon collider or an FCC-HH or any other future collider for that matter. So that's an opportunity. The other thing we can look at is the private investment in fusion. They're developing the HTS conductors and magnets based on HTS. We can piggyback off of that. So there are a lot of little things we can scrape up to make some kind of a coherent program. It's going to take a lot of coordination.
Thank you. There's one question from Heidi. Is it an issue that the recent European strategy summary didn't mention muon collider, as far as she knows?
Well, that's my question too. I've been reassured that by IMCC that there will be some support for the muon collider. With everything that people want to do, the support that CERN wants for the FCC, and I think that's above my pay grade. I don't know what's going to happen.
Are there any other questions in the chat or raised hands? Looks like not, so thank you very much, Stephen.